picture. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, how about I'm rolling now? This is my favorite time of the week. This is all boxing. This is the final round. Saturday, May 7th on DAZN pay-per-view. It was Canelo Alvarez moving up to 175 again, challenging Dmitry Bivol for his 175-pound title. And on this night, it was all Dmitry Bivol. Canelo is the face of the sport. You have to give him credit for going up to 175 again, but this time he bit off more than he could chew. At times, I thought Bivol dominated the fight with his jab, with his combinations, with his footwork. In rounds 7 and 8, Bivol really physically started to take over. Canelo started to tire, and Canelo was unable to solve the style that Bivol brought into the ring tonight. Once Canelo's power wasn't working, he didn't have another game plan. Was this an upset? Yes, but if you know boxing, this is clearly not the upset of the year. Bivol brought a lot of size, style, and substance into this fight, and he proved it over 12 rounds. I had it 9-3 Bivol. My only fear was that the judges would get it wrong. I thought the scoring of this fight was way too close, but I will say the right man won, and that's all that matters. After the fight, Eddie Hearn said he expects Canelo to activate the rematch clause, so we're looking at Bivol Alvarez 2 in September. In June, we've got a unification fight between Long Island's Joe Smith and Artur Beterbiev, and that should be a great fight between the two hardest punchers in the division. Then somewhere down the line, maybe next year, we will have an undisputed light heavyweight champion. I can't wait to see who gets that title. Boxing has been on an unbelievable run. I can't stop thinking about the fights from April 30th, especially the historic Amanda Serrano-Katie Taylor match headlining in Madison Square Garden. This, so far, is the fight of the year, period. What was so incredible is that rarely do big fights meet the hype. This one met the hype and it surpassed it. Although I personally thought Amanda Serrano did enough to win the fight, Katie Taylor retained her lightweight titles on a spectacular night, and the biggest win of all was for boxing and for the fans. There's rumors that they may have a rematch in Ireland. Sign me up. Wherever they fight, whenever they fight, I'll be watching. Do I have to remind you that I'm from Jersey? I told people all along what Shakur Stevenson was going to do. He's a special talent. That talent was on display against Oscar Valdez. He dominated the fight. He's got big things in his future. Happy birthday to the greatest fighter in the history of the sport, Sugar Ray Robinson. He was born May 3rd, 1921 as Walker Smith Jr. At one point in his prime, Sugar Ray Robinson's record was 128 wins. 128 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws with 84 knockouts. He was a former welterweight champ. He was a 5-time middleweight champ. Muhammad Ali said he was the greatest of all times. Sugar Ray Leonard, who took his name and fought very well as another Sugar, always said there was no comparison between the Sugars. Sugar Ray Robinson was the greatest fighter who ever lived. People still remember him to this day. Happy birthday to the original Sugar Ray Robinson. May 5th, 2007 was the super fight between Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather. The fight was huge. At the time, it was the biggest moneymaker in the sport. They fought at 154 pounds for Oscar's junior middleweight title. It was a good fight. Oscar had some good rounds early. He established his jab. He stopped jabbing at the end of the fight. Mayweather ended up winning a split decision. What I remember most about that experience, I got to work on a show called 24/7. It was the debut for that show. It was a behind-the-scenes doc, 4-part series that really went deep into the careers and lives of Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather. That show, because of Floyd Mayweather's personality, really catapulted him into superstardom and on his way to becoming the best fighter of his generation. And speaking of Floyd Mayweather, he was recently sparring, working out for yet another comeback in what I'm sure is going to be an exhibition fight. Look, the guy's nickname is Money, and he keeps making money. That's it. My time is up. Come back again next week for another edition of the Final Round. Make sure to check out FightHype every day for all things boxing. And don't forget, every week I'm back with a new episode of The Final Round.